For a while, I actually sat here trying to rack my brain on why people dislike, by the way, spoilers. So I'm going to say why people dislike Gege's writing. Um, and I'm going to explain a little bit more. But for the most part, I've been trying to rack my brain on why people disagree with someone Gege's writing. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying it's purely opinion. This is not glazing Gege, but I am of the opposite perspective. I think his writing could possibly be mid, but I also think it is not bad. It is definitely more good than bad. I think how each of us perceive life, which is obvious, is determining what you feel about the story and his personal writing. So now, let's get into the video. Okay, let's call this part glazing allegations and let's get them out the way. One, I will never, I will always respect someone's work. If they're putting in the work, and I'm talking in anything, if you consider yourself a spiritual titan, a religious titan, a champion of God, I will want to see your work, right? I was going to go somewhere with that point, but I think I'm going to leave it there and just let that speak for itself. I will always respect the work, right? I'm not going to heavily glaze, as that's a new term now that I think is absolutely retarded and disgusting, bro. I hate some new lingo. Oh my gosh. But I imagine this is how our parents were looking at us when we were making terms. I'm 23, so it's like a weird Gen Z millennial thing. I even hate those terms, bro. Dude, I've always just been the anomaly. I'm an alien, yeah. So the glazing allegations. Let's just bomb these out of the water right now. No intention on that being reference to anything that's happened in real life, but let's get that out the water. I think, right? Let's start with what I said in the intro, and I think I said this in this intro. I've restarted this video a couple times, man. Perfection is cursed. But I really think whether you think Gege's writing is bad or good entirely depends on you. There is no like definite set in stone fact of reality. It's just what it is when it comes to things like art. And a manga creation is art. And stories and storytelling and storytellers are artists, at least in a way. And I mean, yeah, like especially manga artists, artists and manga creators. See, one, if the manga creator is also drawing the pictures and creating the story, then they're an artist with words and an artist with drawing. So, anyways, let's get that out of the way. But let's go back to why I'm calling this section the glazing allegations. There are extremists on both sides. There are people who don't like that Gege has taken out certain characters and then they will just immediately hate the story, immediately write it off as bad writing, immediately, and they'll stand on that. They will stand on business. Then there are some that are glazing the story and saying it is completely amazing. It is completely without fail. Everything is intentional. Everything is beautiful. Everything is it just cannot be beat. And there's no faults in the story. Now, I want to say something. Neither of those perspectives are wrong. You are entitled to believe what you like. No one is sitting next to Gege. But I feel like if you take a lot of context clues and maybe things the man has said, that this story has been intentionally written exactly the way he wanted it to go. And now, another thing to get glazing allegations out the way is a good works of literature, in my opinion, from all the books that I've read, are to invoke some sort of emotion out of you, right? If the story has pissed you off, Gege did a good job. If you love the story, Gege has done a good job. If you don't like his writing, Gege has done a good job. If for some reason you would like to marry Gege, he has done a good job. I just do feel like there are some people being disingenuous to his writing over over their own personal bias, and then they try to mask it as, nah, I don't really care, this is just people are defending it because it's actually bad writing. But let me give you another perspective. I'm not going to say this is fact and set in stone, but I'm going to give you another way to look at his writing, and then you do with that what thou wilt. All right, so glazing allegations over. I think Gege is a talented writer, and that's why everyone has fallen in love with the story. And it's so much easier to point out someone's faults and point out imperfections and all of this than it is to compliment someone's work, where also making those critiques of somebody's story, somebody's craft, anything really to do with a person. And I will still always say this all the time. It's easy to just point the finger and be like, bad writing, than it is to be like, no, these are really strong. All these other areas are really strong, though, which all play a role in making a good story. So, yeah. Yeah. By the way, when you literally type glazing for the original meaning of what it is the action of installing Windows. Oh my gosh, how is this turned into a way different meaning? It went from kiss up to like sucking up to someone to literally, you know, dude, I miss meat riding. Pause. But you know what I'm saying? That term was so funny. And now we got glaze. Oh, bro, you're glazing. All right, here we go. So, the new perspective. I'm gonna say this. There are gonna be spoilers. Now remember, I'm prefacing this because sometimes people misunderstand the chaos that is my mind. A lot of people don't. I seem to attract exactly what I am, which is other mentally insane people who are from other dimensions. But let's preface this real quick. Again, I am giving a new perspective. I don't in any way think this is the fact of what Gege is writing, but let me introduce you guys to a little concept I like to call life. I want to stay out of getting way too metaphysical with this, but I want to bring you guys into a new concept that I think you've never heard about life. And sometimes, right? Have you guys ever noticed this? Some people seemingly die for no reason. I know it's a shocking concept. They can have the best accolades in life, and then for some reason, the most tragic thing happens to the best person that we believe is the best person, has done a lot for the world, and then seemingly has been taken out. And we are like, yo, why are the bad guys still around? Like, what? Like, what? I know it's a new concept, and it's hard for absolutely anybody to grasp that someone could be built up so amazing in their life and then taken out. Dang, like, I've never heard of this. So I just would like to kind of, for some examples, like Yuki, like Nobara, actually don't know. There was a video I seen. Someone was talking about this. You know what? Let's even talk about my favorite character. One of them. Yuta's my favorite, and the other one is Kashimo. Kashimo, right? But for some reason, I do not feel the same. And I'm glad. We're all supposed to feel different. I do not feel the same as people saying that Gege builds up characters and then immediately wipes them out because, blah, blah, blah. Like, I heard one guy, and I was like, I wonder when recording the video, did he like hear himself and realize what he said? Listen, everything in existence can be argued. Everything has its pair of opposites. It's the law of correspondence or polarity. But here's the thing. Oh, they're fixing something outside, by the way, if you hear banging. Here's the thing. This is something I just need to accept. Imagine I was a... Let's try to build me up like Kashimo. Say I was out there in life and I was just doing everything for my community. I was, which is awesome because then it also adds fuel to like the level of things that probably wouldn't happen to me, but you never know. Your ops move in the shadows or they be the closest to you. But regardless of the opposition, which will come back into play, say I'm out there, I'm doing everything. I've built up this repertoire that everybody who sees me is like saying that, like, look at this dude, like, look at you, man, you just live such an amazing life. You do so much for your community. You give back. And then one night driving home, a drunk driver slams into me and I have died. I have gone. I am game ended because of a drunk driver. Now, people's perspectives on that can be that one little insignificant person who decided to make a bad decision and drive drunk. Which I don't want to say they're insignificant, but you know what I mean? I'm kind of playing up some of these perspectives I've heard from why Gege doesn't write like this bad. But do you get what I'm saying? It's like all my accolades, I've done everything for my community, I've done all of this great, and I've been taking out the story that is life. And you will hear everyone say, why did it have to be me? That's not fair. Look at all the good I've done. Maybe they find out this drunk driver's Sakuna. But do you kind of get my point? I hope you guys are getting the perspective that I'm giving y'all. Is that is the saying the good die young? That's the whole thing. You are showing in an instant that Gege is a great writer. The fact that it bothers you that he builds up these characters and then just takes them out the story. Yes, I think that's legit the point. You can be so built up in your life and then, I don't know, have a forklift accident. You can I think that's what Gege is trying to portray. And like I said, I can't say for sure, but people miss that. And then, okay, so let me handle the thing where it's like, well, you can chalk that up to bad writing. Well, just as much as you can call it bad writing, you can call it good writing. But let's call his writing real life writing. Without getting metaphysical and deep about it, life is just like that. Shit happens, right? So I think Gege is trying to apply that to the world of cursed energy and cursed techniques. And this show, for me, has been a little bit like, or anime / manga, but show, y'all know what I'm saying, has been that mold breaker for me. That he's demonstrating in a show that when you go into doing anything in life, battle, I don't want to say chasing because you shouldn't chase, attracting your dreams, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you go for in life, you have to go for it with a higher state of mind. If you're going to go for anything you want in life, you cannot go with your current state of mind. You have to alter your state of mind. Gege is showing us that even if that state of mind makes you feel like an enlightened honor one, you can be taken out by another enlightened honor one. You can think you're the baddest of the bad, but remember that is the point at the end of the day, to have no ego, which is what I said in my Sukuna video, but I wanted to go more in depth, but I just wanted to get it out because I had the inspiration to make the video. But that's why I knew already ahead of time that Gojo was going to lose to Sukuna. I am so sorry. I just knew, because one thing that happened in the story that told me this was, and let me go get it up so I can reference it for you guys. Here's the difference in mindsets. And I could be referencing this wrong. I looked them up and I don't know if it was exactly this, but Gojo called Jogo weak. But when Sukuna came across Jogo, Jogo impressed him, and Sukuna told Jogo to stand proud and commends him for being strong. Two very different ways of handling beings. Do you get what I'm saying? Gojo literally embodied that he was the strongest. And that pride can be someone's downfall, right? But Sukuna has a more occult, well, see, Gojo does have an occult understanding of reality because of the whole 6 eyes. So he could have just been playing his role. But something in there, you know, blah, blah, blah. We're not here to actually talk about the whole politics of the battle, but still, if you look at Sukuna and where he's at now in the story and everything he's been saying from the beginning, he has a huge occult understanding of reality that he's been doing himself the entire time. You get it? He's been doing him. That's it. He never really, quote unquote, from how I interpret the story, he has never wanted anything. He just literally wanted to do what he wanted to do. It was never about being the best or being incredibly strong. And that's why Gojo and Kashimo could not understand his mindset. Now, I think, of course, when someone makes art or manga, author, parts of them are in the characters. I think when people literally said, oh, Gege is the true Sukuna of the story, that's the point. Y'all nailed it. He is. He's doing what he wants. Whether you regard that as bad writing or good writing does not fucking matter. Now, I'm not saying that your videos don't matter and don't make them and you can't have that perspective. But I really want to pose this option. If you're going to make videos being critical of someone's writing, really come up to bat then. Really come with examples or whatever and really make a well-structured video than something that really does feel personal. Try to be objective if you really think that just objectively it's bad writing. Now me, I just look at it as mid. I really love the story, but is it too crazy and not too crazy? Where I will say it's crazy is the fact that he's not trying to follow the standard. And honestly, I think it's just him. I think it's not an intentional, he's trying not to. I think he's just being himself. He's being authentically him, and this is his story. But he's not trying to follow the cliche power fantasy. Everyone, and that's all what I like too. I know I don't even want to say this because I heard someone argue that people who try to defend the writing try to argue subverting expectations. One thing I want to say too, I'm not defending the writing. I'm trying to give you a different perspective on that. It's not bad writing. It's still personally how you feel. Because still both sides could be true. It could be good or bad. It depends on who you are. Everything is subjective, right? But it is subverting expectations. You know, we're all used to hearing Goku versus Superman. We're all used to blah, 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 blah. And the next big thing became Sukuna versus Gojo. but people were so sure their honored one was going to win. And it's just like, man, I don't know if y'all were seeing the mindset. And in another universe, he did. He did win, man. It's multiverse. But let me sort of wrap this up and tie everything all together in the final part. Just want to preface again, I'm jokingly glazing Gege. I'm not actually glazing him. But I want y'all to get that dude, you can't just write off that he's a bad writer. He's not a bad writer. He's not a bad writer. Like I'm not gonna say he's the best or he's even good. I'm just saying though he is not bad. Because to call something inherently just bad is just like, it's just like off the. To me, it's just off the basis of what are you trying to compare this to something? Because I feel like you have to compare it to your own things that you consider good. That's just with everything. If you don't like tropical punch Kool-Aid, here we go. It's just preferences, man. Because there is like the generally accepted overview of something. Like, okay, this burger place is fire, and then this burger place sucks. So it's like everyone in town agrees that this burger place, they're just the quality of the meat. It's just the ratings are bad. Okay, right. But then over here, this burger place has high ratings, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like, okay, so what are you comparing Jujutsu Kaisen to then? What are we going to compare it to? If other anime / manga are not doing the same thing. You can't compare it to Dragon Ball Z because Goku didn't just get wiped out by Vegeta when he came into the story. Can't compare it to One Piece because Luffy isn't getting knocked out by every single main villain he's coming across. Can't compare it to Naruto. He's not just wiped out, but was known as the strongest. So it's like, what are we going to compare Jujutsu Kaisen to actually say it's bad in this sort of genre? Akame Ga Kill? Because that was, I'm not going to spoil that for people that haven't watched, but Akame, her name is the main, so you can't even really compare it like that. I think, and also, it's not called Gojo Satoru, the story. So it's like, or Yuki Tsukumo, the story. So I don't know. I guess that's a bad example because Dragon Ball Z isn't called Goku, but Naruto is called Naruto. It's just weird to me. It's just weird to me. Some of the arguments I hear are just really strange. We're just trying to write something off as bad writing because possibly you don't like it. But yeah, man, I've been sitting on this video for a while because that was just one thing that got to me, was just that, it would really be funny if it just came out where Gege just released a statement that every single thing he did in Jujutsu Kaisen was to intentionally traumatize everyone, intentionally piss people off, and because then you couldn't even deny that the fight sequences were not awesome. The powers were not dope. The drawings were not dope. The inspiration from philosophy and different religions, like, well, not religions, but beliefs, philosophical religions. I don't even like to say Eastern philosophies and tools like the Vajra being reimagined in the story. You couldn't, and then that real life aspect of you could have the most amazing accolades in the world. Like, okay, this is going to be an extreme comparison to something. So I just want to say this. God rest his soul. He's in a better place for sure, though. Life, man. But let's say Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther. Did a lot of you out there like Black Panther? Look at his acting. He embodied that role. He worked hard from what others have said about his work ethic. He worked hard. Taken out by a disease. And then people who are really fans of him are like, oh, come on, God, that's bad writing. God, you wrote his story like that. That's bad writing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this whole thing's wrong. It's not really a video about being right. It's just more of a video of think a little bit before you really make a claim. Just saying. Just saying. I don't have a problem with the story. I really don't. I think some things could be better? Of course, but that'd be an entirely different video. This is one just for people that is like with Jujutsu Kaisen or anything. If you want to level up your perspective and your, I guess, gain new wisdom and stuff on things, you have to look at more things past good or bad, which I thought was the whole point of right and wrong for Mahito's episodes and the whole you are me, Yuji thing, like the themes, the underlying themes that are trying to be portrayed. But again, I feel like that went over a lot of people's heads, even though sometimes it'll be the same people who say, no, yeah, we do understand that Mahito's evil. We're just happy that Yuji finally kicked his ass. But it's like, Gege's trying to display that sometimes it don't work out like that. Sometimes there's a monster. Also, which was not put in the anime, and I don't know, I'll have to go back and look, was the part in the manga where it said the Black Flash does not choose who to bless, but I could be wrong. I think it was in there. I'd have to go look at the episodes, so don't quote me. Don't be down in the comments like, it was in there. But that was the whole point about the Black Flash doesn't choose who to bless. I thought that was a great example of the real law of attraction and anything, law of cause and effect, is that Mahito was so confident and so, just hitting his peak in his mind that you saw his power increasingly get crazier, which is why I was talking about the whole mindset behind Gojo and Sukuna and that whole thing. And just all of it all together is that this world doesn't choose who to bless. That's why it seems like all of this debaucherous stuff happens here. Because what if it was just all meant to happen? Every single thing you see in your daily life was meant to happen. Do we definitely have an impact on how to change it and how to alter it? For sure. But truthfully, a new villain will always rise up. A new hero will always rise up. It's the same. It's just two sides of the same coin. So I say you have to look above. You have to go beyond bad and good. And I truly think his story displays that really well. But yeah, you can make the argument for everything. So you could really argue that he builds up really good characters really fast, really nice designs, and then takes them out. I don't know. Do with that what thou wilt. Now, to try to ruffle some feathers, I'm going to tell you what I think should happen next. I think either Yuta or Hikari should die, and I think Maki should be the one with Yuji at the end that takes like the final blow. And I think we need a Nobara confirmed dead panel. And yeah. I think Mei Mei needs to die too.